A warm welcome to this week's edition of Energy Frontiers. I am Justina Okechukwu. This show has been proudly brought to you with support from the African Energy Chamber. These are the headline energy news for you from across Africa and around the world. After a 10-year hiatus, Tanzania's Petroleum Upstream Regulatory Authority is set to restart the 5th licensing round to auction oil and gas blocks for the 2024-2025 financial year, looking to promote the exploration of hydrocarbons and attract new investments into the Eastern African economy. The government of Angola has given approval to London-listed Junior Afentra for the acquisition of 12% and 16% non-operating interest in Block 3/05 and Block 3/05A each from Azule Energy Angola Production. The Africa Finance Corporation says it plans to join a group of multinationals to develop the 10.5 gigawatt XLinks electricity export project to produce solar and wind power from Morocco to the United Kingdom using undersea cables. Total Energy says it has acquired from Trident Energy an additional 10% interest from its stake in the giant Moho oil field off the coast of Congo. In exchange, Total Energy says it will sell its interest in Nkosa and Nkoso 2 offshore fields to Trident Energy. Noble Corporation says in a recent update that the firm's drill ship, Noble Venturer, will head to Equatorial Guinea in June to drill 3 wells for Trident Energy after completing a project in Ghana for Tullow Oil towards the end of May 2024. The drill ship will then set sail for Namibia for an exploration campaign on behalf of Rhino Resources Limited in November. And that's the summary of your energy news headlines. When Energy Frontiers returns, we bring you highlights from the just concluded Namibia International Energy Conference. Welcome back. Now, hundreds of delegates from across Africa and around the world met for a 3-day conference in Windhoek this week to discuss key issues around Namibia's emerging oil, gas and hydrogen industry, as well as its electricity sector. We captured a bit of those conversations for you here on Energy Frontiers. Take a listen.
As you might have learned, we have introduced a draft national upstream petroleum local content policy that outlines a pathway for Namibian citizens and companies to benefit from oil and gas resources. And this is to be done by increasing our participation in the oil and gas industry from exploration and production and through the entire industry value chain. We in the Ministry of Mines and Energy are striving to enact the framework to create an internationally competitive petroleum sector that maximizes the benefit for our people and leverages our natural resources for broader national development.
Last year, there have been materialization of this collaboration between Namibia and South Africa. There has been ministerial delegations where we are looking at how we can tackle this issue of energy. Yes, as Mr. Kaimis has said, infrastructure, for example, in the Northern Cape, how can we create synergies so that we can leverage on Namibia's gas resources to support the entire region, for example. So that's why from a NAMCO perspective, we are very passionate and we are serious about making sure that the associated gas to our discoveries is monetized. We believe that not only does it have capacity for electricity generation locally, but we can also go other routes such as LNG and try to solve the energy issues of a more wider area.
So in order to make sure that we don't have a suboptimal development in terms of the Kutu project, we have agreed to accelerate the drilling at least of 2 wells. We're looking 2 wells that we have now accelerated to spud in June next year. Then, with regard to the base case project, we have presented a power purchase agreement with NamPower. We are very eager that we conclude negotiations soon. And then we have also engaged with the Electricity Control Board, the ECB. We have submitted 2 applications, one a generation license and another a transmission license, and they have given us the go-ahead to go and advertise, to engage stakeholders.
Yeah, let me start by saying that, yes, it is true that today we are in a transitional period. A transitional period from fossil fuel to the renewables. But however, no one can really expect a dramatic change overnight. That transition period may become longer or whatever the case may be as time goes. But in the meantime, while that transition is ongoing, there is this huge window for where fossil fuels will play a significant and vital role to make sure that our economies are powered. And in our planning, we are planning quite a lot of renewable energies. We are planning also as some of it for our dispatchable plants. We are still looking in terms of fossil fuels as a matter of having a much more robust energy mix in the country. Yeah, therefore, one could foresee a very much longer period before renewables could really come out and be able to give us that type of energy in terms of baseload, but fossil fuels will continue to be there for some time to come.
Currently, we are experiencing, as we have opened up this market, transmission constraints in evacuating power from Namibia to Zambia, as well as the Northern Cape in South Africa. So as much as the market is ahead in terms of attracting investment, the transmission network should be able to enable to evacuate that power so that we can link seamlessly, not only to the region, as well as also on a continental master plan. I have to emphasize that one. So there is therefore an opportunity for our global investors to invest in these multi-billion-dollar sub-interconnectors and transmission projects to strengthen in-country transmission network, as well as to increase evacuation capacity, as I have referred to.
Coming up, discussions from the Assembly of the International Renewable Energy Agency. This is Energy Frontiers.
We are done dreaming of an industrialized Africa. No more enduring long journeys in darkness. No more imagining life without constant power. We are done. We are done. Done tolerating 24 hours without power, load shedding, blackouts, and power cuts. Enough. Imagine a life where our abundant natural resources can't power a generation. We can't cope with that reality. 600 million Africans still lack access to power. We have the solution. It's time to turn imagination into action. African Energy Week 2024 is the platform to implement change, sign deals, and take decisive action. And implement. Join us. Invest in African energies. energy growth through an enabling environment and be part of the movement that brings hope to millions across the continent. It's not just about power, it's about empowering lives and giving African hope. Be there to witness the transformation. African Energy Week 2024, where imagination becomes reality. Secure your seat now. Don't miss out on African Energy Week 2024. Visit our website and buy your tickets today. Let's light up Africa and create a brighter future together.
Project. At the time you need to build that project. Sign, baby, sign.
Welcome back to the program. Officials of the International Renewable Energy Agency as well as industry professionals met recently in Abu Dhabi to discuss the outcome of the COP28 summit and chart a strategic way forward for countries to collaborate and build infrastructure, policies and skills that would triple renewables and accelerate the energy transition. Let's take excerpts from this high-level plenary.
We are close to achieving our target of 100% clean energy by the year 2030. Through the accelerated development of geothermal, solar, wind, and other renewables, we aim not only to achieve energy independence, but also to propel our economy forward as a green industrialized powerhouse of the 21st century. Yet, despite our vast abundant natural resources and untapped renewable energy potential, Africa faces challenges in accessing appropriate investment and finances for essential services, unlocking economic opportunities and climate change intervention. The lack of significant and appropriate finance and investment mechanism present a significant barrier to realizing our ambition. We recognize the need for a holistic approach that addresses both climate and development priorities tailored to the unique needs of our communities.
In Europe, we really have seen that political announcements about our ambitious targets will send a clear message to private sector. So they know the way of direction, but you cannot be sure that your announcements will successfully be delivered unless you track the progress. And we call this governance, but basically each and every government provides us very detailed plans, what they aim for. So they are presenting detailed plans about their climate and energy action. And by doing so, we know that we will meet our goals. This is 42.5% renewables by 2030 for current decade. At the same time, we always monitor the possible new challenges that will be creating burden for developers.
So we have really to work across the board when it comes to supply and demand. Saying that if there's enough push for the poor, again, this is not, in the case of Africa, is not a choice. We need energy, and we need it fast because we are growing population. 65% of our population is young people, and our needs in terms of socioeconomic growth, of industrialization, of development are huge. And without energy, we cannot do all of this. So it's not a rhetoric. It's not something that we advocate, just in conferences. This is the real life of an African. There is nothing. So we cannot continue like this, and we are determined to change the status quo. The very first point that you mentioned in your question regarding investments, at the same time we are advocating for more investments, but we are also, as African Union and African nations, we are working on improving the investment climate. It has to go both ways. So economically speaking, we cannot continue with the business model that we're having. We have to get it into our heads, all of us, that the private sector is an important player, and that we want to make sure that our policies in terms of investment, energy, and otherwise are attractive enough for the private sector investment. and that the rating agencies that misrate Africa unfairly and stereotype Africa would also have to do their duty in ensuring that proper rating and to reduce the cost of capital.
Policy, certainly for Barbados and many of our countries, is not too big a pull. Because for Barbados, we have an energy transition target to be able to derive 100% of our electricity by 2030 from renewables. 2035 is the outer limit. And so the policy has been set. The regulatory is still not keeping pace, and so we're working through those kinds of things. However, the implementation of the policies and the regulatory arrangements that we each make in our countries is where the challenges come. And that's really where I want to situate my comments. We have seen across the global community, the international system, the United Nations system, dating back to time immemorial, from financing to development, to the Millennium Development Goals, to the Sustainable Development Goals. Now we're talking about the COP targets. 2020, COP28 was an important target for us, and we went into COP28 saying it is a time for delivery. And at this stage, we're now talking about what do we need in order to meet, one, the targets, policy and regulation, yes, but also to exceed them. And if our history globally is anything to go by, we set the targets, the policies have been set, but implementation is where we fall down each and every time. And on this occasion, certainly on behalf of countries like Barbados, which is a small island developing state, this is an existential crisis. This is something that we don't get a chance to redo. We absolutely have to do it, and we absolutely have to do it now.
Yes, I think we need coordination and concerted efforts. I'm thinking, for example, to the situation of Rwanda. We have a Rwanda Green Fund, which is there to collect and to tap into various financial mechanisms that are there to support the green growth, the Rwanda green growth. I see a similar efforts if we have like a renewable energy fund for Africa or a similar infrastructure that will be the center, will be the institution or a fund that will be the go-to for all the financial infrastructures and will support the policy in Africa, in African countries or developing countries, will support skills in terms of renewable energy infrastructures, will support investment.
And finally, the clock is ticking towards the premier African energy event of the year, the African Energy Week 2024, scheduled for November in Cape Town, South Africa. Go now to the event website at www.aecweek.com and register your seats and corporate exhibitions. Join global leaders in Cape Town and be a part of Africa's energy future. And that's the package of Energy Frontiers for you at this time. We appreciate your making the time to watch the show as always. Remember to follow the program on Frontier Africa Reports website, like all of the video editions, send in your comments, and subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us as well across all our social media handles as indicated on the screen. I am Justina Okechukwu. Bye for now.